form of therapy for us.
He makes me cry on our podcast
No.
because he's like, you're not doing it right. I'm trying to say this and you're going, and I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm not a podcaster, you know? But that's just us, and we are who we are, and we're not apologizing for it. And I think that that's really made such a connection with us and the fans of the podcast, and we're hoping will now carry over to the show.
Because my wife, I've been covering mixed combat sports for 11 years, and my wife's finally getting into, she's already into boxing, she's into MMA, but she finally started getting into WWE. And
Yay.
I told her, and she's a big fan of the both of you guys, and she's like, oh, I'm like, oh, they got a podcast. She's like, no. She's like, it's probably one of those typical wrestling fake ones. And I'm like, no, give it a whirl. And she loves the fighting. Loves the bickering.
Isn't it shocking how much fun it is to watch other people fight as opposed to being in it yourself? You're like, oh, I'll watch this all day.
Well, it's great because we actually get people to weigh in, and they're like, oh, Carmella was right this week. Oh, no, I agree with Corey. And it's really nice to be like, see, babe, I told you I was right. So it's really cool to get people to weigh in on our either side.
That's the problem, because when I do lose an argument, which is frequently, not only do I have to hear it from her, I have to hear it from everybody who follows the podcast and tweets at me saying, oh, you're dumb, you stink at this. But, such is life. It's our decision to put it all out there for everybody.
I was going to say, you have to lose all the arguments because we're men. We don't win many.
I don't necessarily have a great win-loss record, but I do stand my ground.
He does.
I stand my ground at the very end, and then whenever it's time to accept defeat, usually I just change the subject.
Yeah, I admit when I'm wrong. He does not.
That usually happens. I can definitely go along with that. And there's always a lot of you hear about relationships in pro wrestling, but very rarely do you see them. You're starting to see them now more couples have come out. And when did you two know that this could be a thing and not just, oh, we're on the road, we see each other, how you doing, and we'll go off on our merry? When did it click for both of you guys where you're like, okay, this could really work?
Well, you always say it's whenever we actually have conversation, and I hang with you on conversation, and we actually have talks when we're chatting sometimes, and it'd be like 3 o'clock in the morning. We're like, holy moly, I need to go to bed. It's like we just have such a deep connection, and that I think has just attributed to the success of our podcast, the show, and just our relationship in general.
Yeah, I think I've known for a long time. I mean, the genesis of our relationship was not put in a glowing light, and it was kind of covered on Total Divas back then. And once the dust settled and everything had gotten back to peachy keen, then I realized, wow, she's still here. So that to me just counted for a lot, that she went through all the turmoil with me and was my partner through all of it. And that was when I was like, oh, okay, this is real. This isn't just some fun thing. This is the genuine article.
How difficult was that for you guys? Because like you said it earlier, Corey, that your relationship got put out there for the world to see. You guys chose for that to happen, but that still had to be difficult considering everything that was going on. So how difficult was that at a time for the both of you, and what made you guys realize we're better together than being apart?
Gosh.
I don't think anyone wants their relationship to start out the way ours did, and based on it was a fallacy. I mean, obviously the facts have come out since then. It was just an angry reaction and heat of the moment, social media doing what it does. Luckily, that's all kind of been debunked by this point. Yeah. But to start any relationship at literally the worst possible scenario, that talk about fighting from the ground up. And that to me, like I said, from the early goings, the fact that she didn't run screaming into the hills, which she would have had every right to do, going, I don't need this headache. I don't need this drama. I'm the most beautiful woman in all of WWE. I can have any guy I want.
You are damn right.
But for some reason, she stuck with me. And from that point forward, I realized, I think, it's cliche that she's a ride or die. But I was like, this is my person. And I've gone over and above since then to protect and continue to grow this relationship for that very reason.
Oh, babe.
See?
I love how you guys don't, when Carmella comes out on Raw, you don't really, I see the jabs that Jimmy and Byron will make at you, Corey, but I give you credit because you keep it really professional when in some cases, I know a lot of guys and girls don't really do that.
We get to walk a fine line because I am quote unquote a bad guy commentator and she is a bad guy character. So it's fun for me. There are a few superstars, and there have been throughout, my commentary career, that I just get to be ridiculous, and I go over the top on purpose, and I hope that I'm making some people mad, and I hope I'm making other people laugh. And so when she comes out and I get to gush and talk about how amazing and astounding, and even when she's not in the ring, I'm talking about her, and you got Jimmy and Byron, shutting me down. That's just a lot of fun for me. That 3 hours is a long time to broadcast anything. So I look forward to those sort of segments to take a breath and kind of go, okay, all right, now back to serious business. But I get to have so much fun when she's out there, and I think it helps her get
oh yeah, people hate me because they hate you. So regardless, even if I was a good guy, people would not be able to stand me because they can't stand him. So I'm guilty, I guess, by association.
I can't see either one of you as being a babyface. I just don't think that it'd ever be able to fly.
Well, I was for a few years, actually.
Oh,
I was, but trust me, I did not. It's not as fun as being a bad guy. For me, I just want people to hate me. So I love it.
And I was going to say, I think that's one of the coolest things about this show is we are both villains on television. As far as most of the WWE universe is concerned, we're bad guys. So this show is a window into our life when the WWE cameras aren't rolling and when we don't have an arena full of people.
Corey, as anyone that knows him on Monday Night Raw, he's, obnoxious, over the top, this bad guy. And then you see him in real life and he's actually very sensitive and sweet and kind and caring, which is, I'm excited for the fans to see who he really is in real life, because this is the man that I fell in love with.
I saw the trailer. It's a little raw. It's pretty raunchy.
Spicy is how
very
we're describing
spicy.
it.
Very spicy.
Well, listen, we needed to get the people talking, right? I mean, we're about to launch the hottest new reality show on YouTube. But the sexy aspect of it is just a small portion of what the show is about. Obviously, we put that out there in hopes of people going, what the hell is this? And so far it's worked. You're getting a lot of feedback on social media, even friends of ours going, what is this? What are you doing? What are you putting out there? And it's safe to say it's not going to be some raunchy, nasty NC-17, PG-13, TV-14. We lean into the sex aspect of it because it's a big part of our relationship. And on our podcast, bear with us, we discuss that a lot, how it's 2022. It's beyond the time of having to be ashamed of this. And everybody who is in a relationship of any sort has this issue. Sex is an important part of a lot of people's lives. And
why can't we talk about it? Why can't we talk about sex? I think it's okay to talk about sex. It's okay for me to talk about sex and still be a stepmom and still be a WWE superstar. It's 2022. It shouldn't be so taboo anymore. And
she still goes to church, believe it or not.
Yeah, it's okay to have all of these different aspects of our lives. And, it's okay to have different, interests and have different things that you do. And I don't want people to be like, oh, because I saw so many comments, again, talk about social media. Oh, Carmella's a freak. Well, just because you see me acting one way on WWE does not mean that that's who I am when I leave Raw. Like, I have so many different aspects of my life. I'm a daughter, a fiance, a stepmom, but I still like to talk about sex, and I burp, and we're all different. We have all different aspects of ourselves.
Ask a couple questions about the household, and who is the better cook?
Definitely her.
Me.
Definitely, without question. I can barely make macaroni and cheese.
Hey, but mac and cheese is very important. I got 2 boys, and they can't. At least 3-4 days a week, Corey, I'm making mac and cheese.
Trust me, when it comes to something I can take out of the freezer and put in the oven,
chicken patties,
pierogies, pasta with sauce from a jar.
And my favorite part is when the kids are like, Dad's such a good cook. I'm like, all he did was take ragu and put it on, and I'm over here making my own homemade sauce. It's so funny.
Who keeps it clean in the house?
She definitely takes the cake there, but I'm not a messy
He's
guy.
Tidy.
I'm a pretty tidy guy. I clean up after myself. I'm not quite as
he puts
neurotic
the toilet seat down.
I put the toilet
That's
seat
important.
down. I clean up after myself. I even occasionally do my own laundry, which is it's a new frontier for me, but I'm very excited about it.
See, we have to do the laundry. I've been married almost 8 years. You have to do the laundry.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I've learned that.
It's so necessary.
Yes, because if I like to have clean underwear, I need to make sure that I wash them, because otherwise I'm just going commando for a couple days at a time.
What's wrong with that?
There's nothing wrong with that. Who's the better dresser? I think I know the answer to this, but
I mean, here's the thing. The answer to all of these questions, it could go for both of us, but I would say I'm just a little bit more. I'm just a little bit turned up.
She's the fashionista of the house. I'm relatively lazy.
But he loves fashion.
I do.
You like to look good.
I like it, and I never in a million years envisioned a situation where I would have to wear a suit to work. That was kind of why I wanted to become a wrestler. So now I find myself as a commentator, and I'm like, wow, okay, suits. Now I've been wearing suits for years, and now you've got guys showing up where loud suits are kind of in right now. So I'm thinking, no, I got to go a different direction. I've got to do something else. I've got something.
Stay ahead of the curve.
I like to keep it a little more simple, but I put forth a little bit of an effort.
So you're not calling Seth's people to get some suits?
Well, here, I'm gonna let you in on. Here's a little DAZN exclusive. The person who's making all of Seth Rollins' suits, I've been wearing that stuff for years.
Wow.
The first time, I swear to God, I am. The very first time Rollins wore I think it was like a bright pink suit. And I looked at it and I said, I think that looks like the suit that I said to him, I go, what brand is that? And he showed me and I said, I have it in blue. I wore it at SummerSlam last year. And like 3 or 4 times, there's been things that he showed up on Raw wearing, and I'm going, God, they just sent that to me. So Seth Rollins is kind of why I've leaned into the leather jacket t-shirt sort of fashion and a lot of turtlenecks these days because it's no use trying to compete. I just change lanes.
I'm gonna send a message to him later, and I'll let him.
Yes.
I'm gonna tell him the jive is up on those suits. I'm gonna definitely tell them they're up. And so from my understanding of the show is it's going to be aired in 10-minute clip. It's going to be 10 minutes long, and there's going to be 4 episodes starting out. Is that correct?
Flip it. There are about 10 episodes, and they're going to be, I believe, 4 to 6 minutes long.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It's essentially like a full-length episode, like an hour-long episode of a TV show would be, chopped down in whatever equally distributed 10 parts. And it's going to, I believe... Don't quote me on this, but I believe 2 episodes air on Monday, and then throughout the rest of the week, they're going to roll out the other episodes. And if you watch them all in succession, they kind of build into one full episode, but they're also kind of edited to where each little mini episode kind of stands on its own. They're all little miniature storylines. Because what happened was it took us almost 2 complete years to get everything shot and finally see the light of day. By the time it's been edited and WWE has their input and Glass Entertainment.
The first time we started, like any scene that you see on the show is from 2020, which is so insane.
Wow.
And it's now coming out in 2022.
And just with the headaches of COVID and business being what it is, it's taken quite a long time. So rather than try to make it all one linear story, it's easier to just take all of the little clips that we shot and kind of let them be digested on their own, as opposed to trying to shoehorn it all into one episode that doesn't make total sense in succession.
Carmella, my wife wanted me to ask this, and I have it written down here. I'm going to get in major trouble because she does watch and listen and reads everything I do. So I better make sure I get this in. And she wants to know about the word bitch and why you use it in too nice of a term. You should be put a little more.
She must have listened to the podcast this week.
Yes.
I know. It's like a term of endearment.
She says you should just say it in all times of endearment, good or bad.
Yeah, she does. She's called me that like 11 times since we woke up. It's very weird.
I don't know what it is. I don't know. I don't get it. But I mean, I hope she understands. She gets it. You know, I'm not trying to be mean or rude. It's just
you're
kind of like,
reclaiming it. You're taking it back.
Oh, see, now you are walking it back. Corey's right on this. You're walking it back now. You got to own that. You got to own that word.
Well, I just don't know how much I can get away with saying that. You know, here, I mean, on our show, sure, they'll bleep it out. Yes, but
we don't bleep it out. The Zone is good about not bleeping it out. I do promise you that. I do want to ask you guys about Wrestlemania because it is Wrestlemania season, and Carmella, will start with you. And we got to get a match, and all these other matches are getting in. Why do we not have a women's tag team title match already lined up for WrestleMania?
You know, that's a great question, and I would love to know the answer to that as well. You know, we haven't been on TV in almost a month. You know, we're just hanging out at a toga party. We're champions. I'm Carmella. I'm a former SmackDown Women's champion. I won Money in the Bank not once, but twice. I won the WrestleMania Women's Battle Royal. I won the Mixed Match Challenge. I have 2 sets of reality television shows. Why am I in a toga party? Please tell me.
That's a good
I
question.
would love to know what's happening, but instead I'm going to focus on the show and actually focus on our wedding. So we're getting married the week of WrestleMania as well. So
Okay. Wow.
we'll see what happens at WrestleMania. You know, I have a lot of other things happening right now, focusing on the good.
What day is the wedding? You said the week of
April-
WrestleMania.
April
April 7th.
No rest for the weary.
Oh, so you're going to Bryan Danielson route when he went and got married right after WrestleMania 2. So
Oh yeah, they did.
why April 7th? What was it about that
To
day?
me,
It was just
I feel like things sort of slow down a little bit after WrestleMania. We don't have an off season, you know, so
Yeah.
it's just kind of picking and choosing where it makes the most sense. For me, I wanted to have a short engagement because I eventually want to have kids and start a family.
She didn't want to give enough time to chase me off. That's all.
Before he changed his mind, you know, gotta lock him up. So I
Exactly.
just felt like it was the perfect time, you know, and we get to have a little bit of, we can just finally decompress after WrestleMania, and we have a few weeks off after that. We're gonna go to Hawaii and just enjoy our honeymoon. So that's why, I guess.
And Corey, I want to ask you real quickly about WrestleMania. And a lot of big matches already lined up. You got title versus title. You got everything going on with that. And what match are you looking forward to most right now with the card currently as it is?
So, I mean, I don't think anybody's not excited about Lesnar and Roman. Title versus title, winner take all. I mean, the stakes literally in our business cannot be any higher. You have the two top champions in the game competing head to head on the grandest stage of them all. It's going to be a spectacle. WrestleMania historically has always been about spectacle, and you're going to see some faces that you didn't expect to see. I mean, Logan Paul's in the fold now. There are bound to be some more surprises popping up between now and WrestleMania, which is I think about 5 weeks away now at this point.
Yeah.
So you never really know what it's going to look like. And as of right now, I think the only official matches are Lesnar and Roman and the Raw and SmackDown Women's Championship matches, which both I think are going to be awesome. Bianca Belair was amazing last year. You put it in there with Becky Lynch, who's doing, amazing work. And I think Charlotte and Ronda are going to surprise a lot of people because I say it on commentary every week. When the lights are the brightest and the stakes are the highest, Charlotte Flair rises to the occasion. And people think everyone's got an opinion about it, but this is WrestleMania. You've got a legitimate pop culture star in Ronda Rousey. You've got Charlotte Flair. I think it's going to be awesome. And I'd be willing to bet there's probably something coming down the pike that hasn't even been announced yet that's going to have me over the moon. I don't know what that is yet, but I have a feeling there's probably going to be something, 2 or 3 things maybe, if it's 2 nights.
I'm thinking so as well. And you can catch them live. You can catch Corey on Monday Night Raw every Monday night. And Carmella, we got to see you on Raw this week.
That would be great. I would love that. I got a few things to say.
I told her if they did give her a match, she should at least come out during somebody else's entrance, make out with me at the desk or something. I mean, we got to let people know.
There is nothing wrong with that. Corey and Carmella starts Monday on the WWE YouTube channel. Guys, we have never chatted, so this has been great. Thank you so much for the time today. It means a lot. I have to listen to the podcast, so I'm going to be listening to that later today, and I look forward to the show coming up on Monday.
We appreciate your time, man. Bear With Us podcast, available wherever you can get your podcast. Check it out. We appreciate your time. Thank you for chatting with us, man.
All right. Thank you, guys. Have a good rest of the day.
Right on. You too.